Most valuable asset in women's sports, the biggest asset in women's sports, the idea that they did not have somebody in this position it's asinine, it's ridiculous, it's insulting to the fan base. It shows a lack of professionalism by what's supposed to be a professional basketball team, an organization. It's shocking to me. It is shocking. But the Indiana Fever
just made a major move. They've hired a new senior director of player health and performance. Sounds routine, right? Except here's the twist. That position didn't even exist until now. After a grueling season marked by constant injuries, including Caitlin Clark being sidelined multiple times, the team finally realized it needed someone to oversee player wellness and performance. It's shocking that such a crucial role was missing from a professional organization in the first place. The lack of proper health management wasn't just an oversight. It was a sign of deeper dysfunction. Clark, the league's brightest star, battled injury after injury, while the team seemed to have no comprehensive plan to protect its players. Creating this position is a necessary step forward, but it also highlights a glaring leadership failure. For a franchise already under scrutiny, waiting until after a season of physical breakdowns to prioritize player health feels like organizational malpractice, and a disservice to both athletes and fans.
WNBA season. This is great news. Cannot wait to see her back on the floor. Now, there's also a lot of us Caitlin Clark fans who are triggered by the statements that Stephanie White made on the Fever Insider podcast, where she said that the team is building around Kelsey Mitchell, and we feel like Caitlin Clark needs to demand a trade. You know, like it's a lot. It's a lot. Caitlin Clark needs to get out of there. We're going to get into this footage of Caitlin Clark back working out, back training. This is great. We got a lot more to get into. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell.
Caitlin Clark's rookie season was nothing short of a nightmare. A relentless string of injuries that never seemed to stop. It started with multiple quad strains that sidelined her for weeks, followed by a minor groin issue that later turned into a more serious setback by mid-July. Just as she was beginning to recover, she suffered a sprained ankle during rehab, the final blow that ended her season altogether. These weren't just unlucky breaks. They exposed a troubling pattern of poor player care. Clark's body, the very foundation of her brilliance, was breaking down under the team's watch. Fans couldn't help but question whether the Fever had the systems or staff in place to support an athlete of her caliber. The sheer frequency of her soft tissue injuries raised serious concerns about how the organization approached prevention, recovery, and overall player health.
An organization, it's shocking to me. It is shocking. But the Indiana Fever have made a job posting. And Lord knows it's a job that they absolutely need somebody in this job. My issue is, how the hell did you not already have somebody doing this? And why didn't you bring somebody on during the season? The whole team turned into a MASH unit.
And it wasn't just Caitlin. She was far from the only Fever player to face serious setbacks. By season's end, the team looked more like a medical ward than a roster. 4 other players, Sophie Cunningham, Sydney Coulson, Erica McDonald, and Chloe Beebe, all suffered injuries that ended their seasons prematurely. To make matters worse, Darius Dante missed the entire playoffs due to a concussion, the cause of which still hasn't been clearly explained. Even Kelsey Mitchell, one of the team's most reliable veterans, went down with a freak leg injury in the final playoff game. This wave of injuries wasn't just bad luck. It exposed something much deeper. The catastrophic toll across the roster pointed to a systemic breakdown in how the organization managed player health. The absence of proper medical oversight left athletes vulnerable, and the sheer number of sidelined stars was both unprecedented and deeply alarming.
The GOAT is back in the gym. The GOAT is back in the gym. Now, my thing is, Stephanie White has some very disturbing things to say. We all know Stephanie White's a bonehead, and for whatever reason, she in the Fever organization or whoever feels like They should be building the team around Kelsey Mitchell. We've heard plenty of times, Kelsey Mitchell, she's our number one priority last year. She'll be our number one priority this year.
She'll be our number one priority this year. That's the message coming out of Indiana. But the real story lies in the new position they just created. The job description for the Senior Director of Player Health and Performance is massive. And honestly, reading it feels like an unintentional confession of how much was missing before. This new leader will oversee the entire health, medical, and performance operation, full-time strength and conditioning coaches, athletic trainers, physical therapists, massage therapists, nutritionists, chiropractors, and even interns. Their responsibilities cover everything, from initial evaluations and diagnoses to ongoing treatment plans, performance monitoring, and injury prevention strategies. It's an incredibly comprehensive role, but that's exactly what makes it so revealing. The sheer scope of these duties exposes just how underdeveloped the Fever's infrastructure was until now. What they're building today is essentially the blueprint for what should have existed for years. Instead of a proactive system supporting elite athletes, they're only now reacting to a season defined by breakdowns. It's a long overdue step, and a glaring reminder of the organization's past neglect.
The whole team turned into a MASH unit. It's crazy. It is crazy. It's no secret the Indiana Fever were dealt a brutal hand when it came to injuries they dealt with during the 2025 WNBA regular season. The most notable of these is regarding star Caitlin Clark, who experienced several soft tissue injuries during her sophomore WNBA campaign. She suffered 2 relatively minor quad injuries that kept her sidelined for...
Really to blame here? The accountability lands squarely on Fever leadership, particularly Stephanie White and Amber Cox. Many believe they should have recognized the need for this role years ago, or at the very least acted far sooner to establish it. It's hard to comprehend how a position so essential to player safety and team success could go unfilled until after a full-blown injury crisis. Some insiders suggest the warning signs were there long before Caitlin Clark even arrived, pointing to an organizational blind spot. That's been festering for years. This wasn't a sudden oversight. It was a pattern of neglect. The leadership's failure to prioritize player health sooner now stands as a glaring symbol of short-sighted decision-making and a lack of professional foresight.
Clark should move on. Caitlin Clark needs to move on. This is just not gonna work. This is not gonna work. You know what I mean? This is the quote from Stephanie White. I want to continue to build around her. She is absolutely the number one priority. Now, she said she was the number one priority last year. She'll be the number one priority this year. So, being that Kelsey Mitchell is your number one priority,
it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? A troubling question hangs over all of this. Who was actually providing these essential health and performance services before this new position existed? Was anyone truly qualified to diagnose, treat, and prevent injuries for the Fever's professional athletes? The implications are unsettling. It raises the possibility that the team might have been relying on interns, part-timers, or worse, had no dedicated medical infrastructure at all. Some even speculate that players like Caitlin Clark may have had to seek and pay for outside medical care on their own, simply because the organization lacked proper internal support. That idea is almost unthinkable for a professional franchise. If true, it points to a stunning dereliction of duty, a complete failure to meet even the most basic standards of player care. The very notion that elite athletes were left without adequate medical oversight is not just shocking. It's indefensible,